rocks covering beach access points along our coast. We'll find out where they came from and how long they're going to stay around.
The controversy behind removing a name of one of the founders of Cal State San Marcos.
And it's been a good long run, but San Diego police are slowly saying goodbye to the Crown Vic. We've got the past and future of cop cars.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts now. Here we go again. January is on its way out with yet another cold, wet storm soaking the county, and it's not over yet. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. Roads are slick because of the rain. This car drove off the 5 in Chula Vista in the wet conditions earlier today. All this as the county gets hit with a winter blast.
CBS 8 Chief Meteorologist Carlin Chavis joins us now. She has been tracking the storm system, I'm going to say all day, but really all week, because you warned us about this last week. What's happening right now?
Well, we're still dealing rain. We're also dealing with snow. We're seeing a lot more of that snow moving in across the mountains. So that's what makes it a winter storm. It's just how cold it is.
Yeah.
And so that's bringing down that snow level. We have school closures to even talk about because of the snow that's going to be impacting across our mountains. So when you're taking a closer look at the satellite radar, what's actually happening right now, we are seeing a little bit of a dry pause, and we're seeing that from Escondido towards Chula Vista. But you are seeing some light showers for Santee, also some of that heavier snow starting to move in. We're seeing that across Mount Laguna as well as Palomar Mountain. But we've been dealing with that activity on again, off again throughout much of the day. And you're talking about even the potential for more heavy rainfall as we go into tonight, all because of an area of low pressure. And as I mentioned, it's a cold one. And so that's what's driving down that snow level down to about 3,500 feet through tomorrow morning. So scattered showers, pockets of heavy rain, and still more snow in the works all the way into the early morning hours. 10 a.m. that's when we expect this winter storm warning to expire for our mountains, and that is with upwards of a foot of snow being possible. So we're already starting to see some of those numbers going up. Palomar Mountain has already received 5.5 inches of snow. Even more is expected in the forecast. As mentioned, could see an upwards of a foot. That's all because of that low, but it does exit out by tomorrow, so drier conditions will be in the works, and we'll get a nice little break. So we'll go ahead and take a look at your complete forecast coming up. Marcella?
A lot of snow, and a reminder that you can show us the weather where you live by sharing your photos directly with us on our free CBS 8 app. Photos and videos. Just go to the Near Me section right at the bottom there. Tap on the Share With Us button, upload your photos and videos, and maybe Carlene will share them in a future newscast.
And kind of alluded to it, some East County school districts canceled classes today ahead of the expected heavy snowfall.
Whole long list that includes schools in Julian, the Mountain Empire Unified School District, Spencer Valley, and Warner Unified. Those districts are planning to have school in session tomorrow, but with a late start tomorrow morning. We will update you here on air and online with any other closures, changes, or late starts.
A condo complex in Tierra Santa with more than 300 units is scrambling to find wildfire insurance tonight.
This after Farmers Insurance suddenly canceled the policy for everybody in the community. CBS 8's David Gottfredson is working to get answers after several families emailed us asking for help.
If this comes to fruition, I think a lot of people will wind up losing their homes.
John Maroney and his wife have been living in the Villa Monterey condo complex in Tierra Santa for the past 9 years. The condos are connected, meaning they share walls. Owners pay about $380 a month in HOA fees, which also covers wildfire insurance for the entire complex.
It's one blanket policy that covers 304 units.
The community sits on a canyon, and that appears to be the reason why Farmers Insurance recently canceled the insurance policy for the entire community, leaving the Condo Owners Association scrambling to find wildfire insurance on the open market, which could cost each property owner an additional $7,000 per year.
It's devastating. A lot of these families are either young people with children or older people on fixed incomes, and if this happened, it would be financially crippling.
The Farmers Insurance policy that got canceled covered up to $127 million in damages, costing $130K per year. The replacement policy would only cover $47 million in damages and cost more than $2.2 million per year. I reached out to Farmers Insurance for comment, but did not hear back. It all comes down to wildfire risk.
They're fearful that if there's another event like what happened in Scripps Ranch in '03 and '07, where entire neighborhoods are lost, that it would be a financial hardship on the insurance company.
Earlier this month, Farmers Insurance also canceled its wildfire policy for the Canyon Park Via condos in Rancho Penasquitos, according to the Union Tribune.
It would definitely be a lot cheaper to mitigate that canyon brush and whatnot than to spend an insane amount of money for an insurance policy that basically covers a third of what we need.
Now, I reached out to the property management company and the homeowners board here, and neither of them responded. But there will be an informational town hall meeting tomorrow night here at the clubhouse of the Via Monterey complex here. That starts at 6 p.m.
Terrible situation we know more and more Southern Californians are dealing with.
Yes, we've heard stories of actually homeowners, but an entire condo complex. That affects a lot of people. What other options, David, do condo owners have if their insurance policy gets canceled?
Most condo complexes reach out to an insurance broker to try and piece together a replacement policy, but those replacement policies end up being a lot more expensive. I reached out to the California Department of Insurance and I didn't hear back from them, but we're going to keep working for you to try and find solutions to this problem.
Yeah, we will be following this up. David Gottfredson reporting for us. Thanks, David. Tonight, the Memphis Police Department says a total of 7 officers are being disciplined for the beating and death of Tyree Nichols. 5 officers have already been fired and are facing charges. 2 more were relieved of duty today. One of them is Officer Preston Hemphill. He can be seen on body camera video telling Nichols to, quote, get on the ground. Hemphill's attorney says he was not present at the second scene and is cooperating with the investigation. Lawmakers and advocates are calling for police reform. Criminal justice experts say preventive measures like body cameras just aren't working.
These officers knew they were on film. It did not prevent any of their unlawful conduct.
Tonight, a neighborhood vigil is taking place at the site of the violence. And Wednesday, a public funeral for Nichols will be held. Reverend Al Sharpton will deliver the eulogy.
There is growing concern right now about the number of people injured or even killed while trying to cross the border.
According to the Consulate General of Mexico in San Diego, 42 Mexican nationals died while trying to cross the border illegally just last year. The majority were injured falling off the border wall. The Consulate General says people need to know just how dangerous this is.
We think that migrants are being sometimes misled by people who convince them that it is easy and non-dangerous to cross the border between ports of entry.
Consulate General says the injuries and deaths from border wall falls increased after the height of the wall in some places was raised from 17 feet to 30 feet.
Right now, California Republicans have their sights set on crime. They introduced a number of bills today.
They say they want to make crime in California illegal again. Our political reporter Morgan Reiner was there.
The Yuba County Sheriff, who joined Republicans today, told me that he's frustrated. He says sometimes it feels like criminals are being released before they can even finish the paperwork.
Crime is out of control.
Republican Assembly Leader James Gallagher said Californians deserve to feel safe in their communities.
As a former deputy district attorney and federal prosecutor, I am focused on holding the soft on crime policies enacted within the last decade responsible for the erosion of our public safety.
Included in the list of new bills, one to repeal Proposition 47, which increased the amount someone can steal from $450 to $950, and for it to still be considered a misdemeanor.
Proposition 47 is a failed experiment, which has only catered to criminals.
One that would reform Prop 47.
Increase penalties on serial theft offenders, people that commit the same crime over and over again, and yet are continuing to be met with a misdemeanor.
Another that would enhance the punishment for those who have or use a firearm while committing a violent felony.
So it's 10 years if you just have the gun, it's 20 years if you use the gun, and it's 25 to life if you hurt someone with the gun. Pretty simple.
One that would reform Proposition 57 and require more transparency when calculating a prisoner's early release.
To make sure that district attorneys know in advance, just like in parole, that an inmate is going to be released and it's no longer a secret, and that also that the calculations are done and given on why the state is even coming up with these calculations. Because people are being released so early with no transparency onto how the state even came up with those calculations in the first place.
Gallagher knows it's an uphill battle, as some of these bills have already been introduced in the past and failed, but he remains optimistic.
There's a lot of newer members who are coming out of local government who are seeing these same problems in their communities. They want to see something done about it.
I reached out to Democratic Speaker Anthony Rendon to respond to what Republicans had to say, but his office told me that they do not comment on pending legislation.
Thanks, Morgan. Still ahead on CBS 8. Recent storms are transforming one of our local beaches. We head down to Torrey Pines, where rocks are lining an entrance to the beach.
And San Diego isn't the only place getting hit with storms. Winter weather is causing more flight cancellations tonight.
Plus, a bit later in our Earth 8 report, people are looking at ways to get around high egg prices.